I remember early in my career when I was taught about a new strategy or product, and I would go out and I'd speak to prospects about it as if it was like the one tool that was made for all jobs. And I had an older CPA kind of mentor at the time say to me, you know, the clients, especially high net worth clients, business owners, their financial landscape is not a slice of pizza. Even if what you're describing to me is like the best slice there is, clients' landscape is more like an entire pizza. And you just represent one slice. And once I finally kind of got my head around that, I started to understand how accurate that truly was. And I see a lot of advisors and wealth managers like approaching their clients' landscape with that same mindset, thinking like my slice of the pizza is the best slice there is and all you would potentially need, Mr. and Mrs. Client. And I think that's a little bit of a dangerous mindset to have. So what I wanted to do in this video is talk just for a minute about kind of the pizza, what that actually looks like for high net worth clients, for successful business owners, weave that into the virtual family office and go a little bit deeper on one of the topics, which is around tax planning. So if you're excited about that, let's jump in. By the way, my name is Anthony Anderson, if we haven't met, CEO of a company called Elite Resource Team. We've trained over 1,200 advisors and CPAs how to form collaborative partnerships so they can offer their clients more holistic pizza. So this represents, I think, the way that a more sophisticated advisor or CPA should think about what their clients actually need. Again, you might have the best individual slice, but if all you're focused on is selling to your client or your prospect how good your slice is, you're missing the fact that there's a lot of other things that they need. What do I mean by that? Well, sure, they might need your annuity with an income rider bonus, or they might need your premium finance life insurance, or they might need multiple entity planning to mitigate the taxes on their corporate. But what about the legal services? What about the business advisory? What about all of the other things that make up their actual financial landscape? Okay, so the first thing I would say is what's really helped me is to understand actually how complicated, especially for those higher net worth clients, their actual kind of financial pizza is, and then to appreciate how do we break it down. And this is, I think, the very easy way that we've developed over the last 9-10 years to kind of break down what the mass affluent, the affluent type of clients need. So you have the first box over here, we'll call it risk mitigation. Okay, this is VFO, Virtual Family Office, risk mitigation. Captive insurance companies, PNC, what else? You would have life insurance, you'd have annuities, etc. Mitigating the risks that they have in their personal and their business. You have wealth management, investments, 529 plans, crypto, real estate, investments, legal services, buy-sell agreements, wills, trusts, tax planning, and compliance. And this is where I'm going to go a little bit deeper today. The tax, specifically the tax angle that clients need. So tax is tax returns, bookkeeping, maybe audit services, but also tax planning. How do we mitigate the total amount of short-term capital gains, long-term capital gains, estate planning, all those kind of income tax. And then you have business advisory. And business advisory, out of these, I'll do a separate video on at some point because it's probably the most overlooked, but it's what are my key performance indicators? What's my company culture? What's my succession plan? You know, how am I building this thing? So, deep dive today on tax planning. The first major takeaway that took me a long time to fully appreciate and understand is that there's a big difference between a CPA or an enrolled agent or an accountant and a tax planner. These are actually kind of unrelated. The CPA, the enrolled agent, they are trained to prepare tax returns and to keep people within compliance, right? It's typically more historic looking. It's what were the numbers last year and how do we appropriately fill out the returns. A tax planner is actually looking at what strategic moves can we make to mitigate taxes. The tax planner may or may not be a CPA or an enrolled agent. I see a lot of advisors or insurance agents that like to call themselves tax planners because maybe they're looking at when do we buy or when do we sell, or how do we put money inside of a cash value life insurance and we can borrow it out tax-free. Like those might be angles of tax planning, but it's certainly not a complete tax plan. So let's take a look at what I mean by complete tax plan. You look at companies like Apple, GE, Exxon, Verizon. Why do they pay almost nothing in terms of tax? What do they have that the average mass affluent or business owner doesn't have? And that is a team. Do you think there is like one really smart person sitting behind a desk at Apple or GE as like making their strategic moves and filling out their tax returns? Of course not. They have a team of tax professionals that are all working on those like 1 or 2 months out of the year when it's tax season. Of course not, right? Year round, it's their full-time jobs. All they are doing is collectively bringing their intelligence and their experience to the table, sharing ideas, each working within their little silos to make a beautiful orchestra, right? Of very low tax rates, okay? So the main thing that these large corporations have that small business owners don't, most high net worth individuals don't, is a team of professionals. Now, why would you need a team? I've been a CPA for 35 years, right? Why would I need a team of professionals? Well, I don't actually even know what the number of pages are in the IRS tax code because it's almost impossible to find. I've heard 72,000+ pages, which is probably in the ballpark, right? Look it up for me. Comment below if you know actually how many pages are in the IRS tax code or if that's even like a quantifiable number. But the thing is, it's thousands and thousands of pages. Way too much for any one professional to know. It's ridiculous to think that. The more somebody tries to position themselves as an expert in all tax planning things, the more you recognize jack of all trades. Jack of all trades, which might be helpful to some clients, but I guarantee you they are not the planners that are doing the sophisticated work to mitigate true large companies and very high net worth individuals' tax rates down to next to nothing. They have specialized individuals that all have their own area of expertise. So then we should get back to this question of, well, if a CPA, an enrolled agent, an accountant is not a tax planner, then what are we actually talking about? Like, what is tax planning? How do I deduct my home office? How do I set up a 401k? How do I employ my children? Those are all maybe examples of like basic elementary strategies within a tax plan, potentially. But they're certainly not the entire thing. Tax planning, in my opinion, when it's done at the highest level, is a combination of professionals. They could be CPAs, they could be enrolled agents, they could be CFOs, they could be tax attorneys, and different type of niche experts as well. Maybe that don't have any of the specific designations there, but they are really good within R&D tax credits, employee retention tax credits, whatever the strategy or niche area of planning is. But it's multiple professionals all coming together to collaborate and looking for any deduction, credit, loophole legally, not flirting the gray area, but there are loopholes in the 72,000 pages and different types of timely opportunities. Right? By timely opportunities, I mean, these things are changing every year. So what worked 5 years ago may or may not work today, and what works today may or may not have worked 2 or 3 years ago. So we are looking for deductions, credits, loopholes, and opportunities to create this orchestra of different types of strategies and approaches and niche expertise, ultimately with the goal of mitigating the tax to the lowest level possible. And again, when I say tax, that could be income tax that you're paying, that could be planning ahead for estate tax, that could be short-term capital gains, that could be long-term capital gains, selling a company, selling an investment property, selling any type of asset. So any type of tax we have, we are making strategic decisions to put our client in the best position possible to mitigate their tax. Now, there is obviously a range of potential risks in doing this. you have some clients that are very low on the risk tolerance. The most they're going to want to do is like, let me fund my qualified retirement account. Whatever I pay above and beyond doesn't bother me, but I sleep well at night. You have other clients that are very high on the risk tolerance level. You know, they say, if I pay a single dollar more than I have to, that is going to bug me. Put in time, put in energy, make the investments to mitigate the most amount of tax possible. And then you have the average clients that are probably the 80% somewhere in between, okay? So for the purpose of this video, I thought it'd be interesting to explore how different professionals can collaborate, all bring their own area of expertise. Again, tax planning is just one of those 5 areas. I previously recorded this video here about creating a virtual family office structure for your wealth management or your insurance firm. Tax planning is one of those. Do not try to become a jack of all trades. Look for different professionals that understand the value of collaboration and talk to them about this concept and working in a collaborative nature for each other's clients, all bringing your ideas and expertise to the table, leading the client through a comprehensive, holistic, proactive planning process. And ultimately, I think it's a more fulfilling way to serve clients. We bring way more value, so we can charge more. And the clients have ultimately better results. So that's it for this video. Let me know what you think of this below. Did I miss anything when it comes to the tax planning? And overall, I hope you found the video helpful.